The Not So Great Outdoors contains stories of a graphic nature. Viewer discretion is advised.
The outdoors are great.
Except when they're not. Welcome to the Not So Great Outdoors. We're your guides. I'm Piff.
And I'm Sev. And it's my episode this week. I don't think I will ever get used to that. I had such a I struggled, and you know this. I struggled coming up with what to talk about. And you helped me.
I did.
So, happy Thanksgiving, friends. Well, almost.
Ish.
Almost.
Yeah.
Ish. Right?
It'll be 2 weeks after this comes out as Thanksgiving, so
okay, happy
not
almost
really.
Thanksgiving. So yeah, almost, but whatever. We love a good excuse to get together with friends and family and eat good food and all the mashed potatoes.
I do love mashed potatoes.
Yes, there's a photo of us sitting on the floor with some friends eating a pan of mashed potatoes.
It's on our Instagram. You just gotta scroll back to last year.
A bit, yeah. Now, it doesn't take a scholar to realize that the origination of Thanksgiving isn't exactly how we learned in elementary school.
No, it's not.
Not exactly. You know. So, you want to tell...
It was a bit less cute.
Yeah. You want to tell the people what we're doing and what we're focusing on this month?
So, because November is Native American Heritage Month, and also happens to be the month that Thanksgiving is in, we are dedicating our November episodes to the stories revolving around Native Americans and their heritage and like their stories. So Sav is going to be sharing a spooky spook thing from their culture, and I'm going to be sharing the story of missing and murdered Indigenous women at the end of the month.
And I loved the idea, and that's how Piff helped me, because I was like, how do I find spooky things that happened outside? Because everything is a haunted house or a haunted building. Buildings don't count as being outside.
No, they do not.
So I'm like, how
but a cryptid.
am I supposed to? A cryptid,
now
though.
A cryptid, though.
So if y'all ever want to know, why is Sav doing so many cryptids in a row? It's because I've lost the ability to find spooky crap outside. So
there's only so many like haunted forests.
Yeah.
And I covered a lot of them already.
So many of them.
There's a reason why I only did one spooky thing a month and 3 like murders a month when we were doing like 4 episodes a month. Because
eventually I might have to venture into the true crime territory a little bit, because I might run out of crap to talk about. But we're not there yet.
Not there yet. So
and if y'all have any ideas, please
send them to us.
I am open to any suggestions.
DM us, email us, just put like attention Sav in the subject line so that she sees it, not me.
Yes. So, yeah. So you might be wondering, how are you going to tie together Native American and Indigenous culture heritage to the spooky spook? Well, there's a lot of legends and a lot of things, and so that's kind of what we're talking about. So today, I'm going to talk about a cryptid of sorts. We're going to talk about the legend of the Windigo.
Okay.
So the Windigo is something that, you hear a lot about, and we'll talk about that. But I learned a lot doing this research. Also, hot take, and I'm not going to elaborate on this. So if you want me to elaborate on this,
it's no nuance
November. Skinwalkers and Wendigos are not the same thing. At this random TikToker who keeps showing up on my For You page, and I'm about to start rage commenting. Wendigos and Skinwalkers are not the same thing.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway.
I feel like I knew that purely from like Indigenous TikTokers who talk about them.
Thank you. Also, before anybody, if you didn't already pause and go send us a DM right now, if you're back, but before anybody sends us a message that says, Sav, you should cover Skinwalker Ranch. It's on the list, okay? It's on the list.
I don't know what that is, so that's cool.
It's on the list. Just don't come at me. It's on the list, but it's difficult. So just give me time.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like there are some like topics that we're like, I know we're going to do this, but we want to make sure we do it justice. So like it's going to be in the future.
Yes. A lot of the big cryptids are on that for me, because I'm like, I need life to slow down a little bit so I can dedicate a lot of time to research this. Anyway, let's dive in. Buckle up. I don't get to say buckle up very often.
No, you don't. I'm fully buckled. Let's go.
Let's do it. So first of all, major shout out to a PBS show. Yes, I love PBS. I do too. PBS produces a show called Monstrum. And it's really cool if you're not allowed to watch it, because I might
Okay.
use it as inspiration.
But I could
for a
watch
lot
like
of things.
this. I
You
could
can watch this
find the
episode for
Windigo
sure. It is
episode.
linked. Yeah,
Okay.
it's going to be linked because I got a lot of my information from that episode. So you're going to hear me say, according to Monstrum, so it's the full thing that I will not be saying this entire time is, according to the PBS show Monstrum, in their episode Windigo, the flesh-eating monster of Native American legend. All right, so that's the full name. I'm going to say, according to Monstrum, from here on out, but just so everybody knows, there's the full verbal
The full citation.
and it is in the links below.
Do not sue us.
Shout out to the PBS show Monstrum.
Yeah,
Love
donate to your
It is
local
so
PBS.
well done. It is great. I love it. So, and yes, please donate to your local PBS. Thanks to viewers like you. Okay. So, a friend of mine works for KET, so like
I don't know.
KET is Kentucky Educational Television.
Oh, it's like similar
Similar to
but
PBS.
Kentucky.
Yeah, I think they help air PBS in
Okay.
potentially. I don't know. That could be completely wrong. Don't quote me on that. Okay. So, but according to Monstrum, the Windigo, quote, has three major symbolic interpretations: the incarnation of winter, the embodiment of hunger, and the personification of selfishness, both spiritual and physical, end quote.
It's interesting that it's one of the three was winter, because we're kind of like on the cusp of winter right now.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly. And we'll kind of see a little bit more of that.
it's like thematic.
Yes. Sorry, I gotta skip over my written out. Also, side note, moving forward, I'll be saying monster.
Because you already said that.
I said that. For years, the Windigo has made its way into pop culture through movies, TV shows, video games, and even Marvel comics, with images of a thin creature, humanoid-type creature with antlers, or a creature with like a deer head, or like something with antlers,
Okay.
those kinds of things, or even like a werewolf-like creature. But according to Monstrum, these depictions don't capture the true history or characteristics of the Windigo,
Okay.
of the true Windigo.
So surprising nobody. Popular
surprising
media
no
got it
one.
wrong.
Yes, and there's even a movie, and they say the name in Monstrum, and I can't remember what it is right now. Should have written it down. But there's one that a dude made a show, and he made this whole movie. He combined like the stories you hear in the dark book.
Yeah.
So a story from that and a story he heard from his childhood, and combined it to make what he called a Windigo that could not be further from
What an actual,
Windigo
is.
It's think like a stag head on a like centaur body. No, not a centaur, like a fawn. So like the goat feet, man torso, deer head with antlers.
That's very, very
right?
strange.
And that's not at all
That's
what a
not what
Windigo
this
is. Yeah. But they call it the Windigo. And so that movie made such a sensation that it prompted all these other people and
like
things
spin-offs, and they're like,
Yeah.
oh, that must be what
to
this
make
is.
it completely, yeah. And so it's not what the true Windigo is.
Okay.
So just so we all know. But
So we're all clear.
we're all clear on that. Also, fun fact.
Fun fact.
There's a My Little Pony episode where they
What?
talk about a Windigo. It's not at all right, but there's another one.
I really question where some writers for shows and movies get the words that they use.
Yeah.
Because, like, why?
Yeah. Oh, also, the dude who made the movie that it was like completely wrong,
Mhm.
he admitted he didn't do any research on
course
the
he didn't.
Windigo until after the movie was
Of course
made.
he didn't.
Of course not.
No one is surprised by this
Nope.
fact.
Nope. So there's that. Okay. So, but according to Monstrum, quote, the Windigo legend originates with Indigenous people who belong to the Algonquian. I'm so sorry if I butcher that. Algonquian language family. They say it's a giant humanoid cannibal who can move at incredibly fast speed. The Windigo is astonishingly tall, with razor-sharp teeth and claws, and lips that are often chewed ragged or gone completely.
Oh.
They have a heart made of ice, and despite their unending hunger for human flesh, they remain emaciated. It shrieks and can run across treetops, and its presence may be preceded by a foul odor or a sudden snowstorm. Almost all Windigos begin as humans, and once transformed, it has no gender. End quote.
Okay. So it's kind of It starts out as like a human and transforms like a werewolf,
Yes,
where
so
like
that's
something
where-
happens and then you
Yes.
become more beast than human.
Yes.
Okay.
And the early settlers, upon hearing about the Wendigo from the indigenous people, made that comparison,
Okay.
like to our werewolf.
So I am historically stereotypical white people. Good to know.
Well, but yes, but no,
But yes.
you knew that.
It wasn't actually the same thing.
Yes, and also you made the connection that I don't think they did, that once a human, it seems to me, I could be wrong, but everything I read and everything I heard seems to me that once a person transformed into a Wendigo, there's no going back.
Okay.
Meanwhile, with werewolves, as
You,
we
like,
know it, you
change back and
change
forth,
with
yeah.
the moon and all that. So yes, but no.
Okay.
So you're a step ahead, I think.
I am trying.
I will take it. So the big question here is, how does one become a Wendigo?
Oh, please tell me. Is it like an intentional thing? Can you go out and try to become a Wendigo?
You
Or is it
could.
like
You could.
getting...
Bitten by one? No.
I was thinking eaten because
Eaten?
I think you said something about cannibalism
Well,
earlier.
so the most common answer is by consuming human flesh.
Okay, so
But there
the
are also
Donner
versions.
Party.
Yes. But there are also kind of. But there are also versions of the legend that say you can also become one by even dreaming about them. And according to Monstrum, quote, it is also
Interesting.
believed that you can become a Wendigo without physically transforming. Someone who is in a state of inner turmoil might be at risk of becoming one. Some communities believe it can be caused by a spiritual imbalance or by choosing to prioritize the self over the community, end quote.
Interesting.
So can you actively choose to become a Wendigo? Kind of.
Yeah, I don't think that's like what you're trying for based on what you just said, but
make
like
choices.
you're making choices that put you on that path.
Yes. Yes. So the stories, lore, and legends of the Algonquian have primarily been shared through oral retellings. So naturally, there are several variations,
Mhm.
but they all seem to have common threads.
It's like
Like the game
fairy
of
tales, like
telephone.
Grimm fairy tales,
Yeah.
because those were like passed down stories, and then they wrote them down, and specifically the Grimm brothers like wrote the most horrible versions. But like that's another
It's a whole other
conversation.
thing.
But like
Disney
it's
made them
similar.
a little more
Yeah.
family
So
friendly.
the Grimm brothers took the oral tradition and wrote it down, and so this
Yeah.
is like their oral tradition.
Yep. So we do know for sure, however, that the legend of the Wendigo began in the northern woodlands, Atlantic coast, and Great Lakes regions. The Algonquian language family is one of the largest native linguistic groups in North America and includes several groups which will be listed in the blog because there's no way I can read them off without butchering them and their pronunciation. So, out of respect, I'm not going to do that. I will get it wrong. I'm like
Probably
90%
the
sure.
most respectful way to handle that
Yes,
is to not
'cause
butcher them.
I've heard all kinds of pronunciations of Algonquian, and this is the best one that I can find. Like the most common
consistent.
one. Yes.
Yeah.
Because I've heard Algonquin, but I don't think that's right. I think it is Algonquin. I don't know though. If I'm wrong, somebody please tell me. I would like to do this
Fix
justice
that, yeah.
and fix this. So, but because the legend is shared among so many different groups, the Wendigo is known by many names, spellings, and pronunciations. Here's a fun fact for you, okay? Are you ready?
Yes.
According to Monstrum, quote, there are more than 37 names for it that begin with W,
I love that.
end quote. But in Monstrum, they use
I aspire to have 37 names.
I don't. People don't even get my one name right. I've been
I
called
feel like-
Samantha so many times in
I
my
was
life.
like, what are they calling you? Once I went to a Starbucks. My regular name is Tiffany. So I go up and they say, what's your name? And I say Tiffany. And I go to pick up my drink at the end and, they call out names. The name they called out was Julie. And I'm like, where did you even get that? But see, I can see like where they get that.
Savannah,
Samantha.
Yeah. There are little sweet ladies at like the church I grew up in who were like in their 80s who would call me Samantha or Sam. And I'm like, yes, ma'am, I'm not correcting you. You are 85 years old.
Like, that's just my name now.
That's my name now. Okay. So in Monstrum, they used the spelling Windigo,
Okay.
which, quote, more accurately reflects the Cree and Ojibwe pronunciations and the one that appears more commonly in Indigenous authored texts, end quote.
Okay.
So that's why when we were talking about it the other day, that's why I spelled it the way I did. I knew there was a reason, but then when you were like, oh, it's this one, and I'm like, that's also correct. But I don't remember why.
I just
there's
Googled the word
Yeah.
the way I was spelling it, and then that's the one that I sent you. I was like, oh, this is how Google said to spell it.
Which is also correct. It's on that list.
One of the 37
One of
ways.
the 37 ways. Yes. Also, Cree and Ojibwe are the only two communities within the Algonquian language family that I am 100% positive I'm saying that right. If you tell me I'm wrong, I'm going to be so sorry and so embarrassed, but I am confident that I'm doing that right.
Confidence is key.
Yes. So, Piff, what is common? What's the common thread among the communities that share the Windigo legend? Again, they are the Great Lakes regions, all of that. So what is common?
It gets cold there.
Yes, harsh winters and geographic location.
Okay. I got one of the two.
Yes. I even have here, due to the harsh winter weather. Yes. Due to the harsh winter weather and lack of resources, all of the communities undoubtedly faced, each year they were faced with the fear of starvation and losing and running out of food resources and things like that. So because of this, the communities were encouraged to stick together and help one another. According to Monstrom, quote, the Windigo thrives in the winter and can travel in blizzards. It hunts for those who are separated from the group or who leave the safety of their home. Fear is a powerful motivator, and this story spooked people into sharing food resources during the winter and preparing adequate food storages during the rest of the year, end quote. So, also, you are welcome to look in the drive now because I have images, thanks to Monstrom, of images of some depictions. So, boogeyman or literal creature or cryptid, the world may never know.
Oh.
Right? You know what I thought? You know what I thought when I looked at that? Or when I saw that for the first time?
What?
Slenderman.
It's worse.
This is
worse. Way worse.
It is worse.
If I saw this, I would just be like, I guess I'm dead now.
Yeah.
This is terrifying. This is going to haunt me. Also, the second photo, why is he so tall? Or it?
Well,
you said it's genderless.
It is genderless. But remember,
why is it so tall?
They grow tremendously tall. Also, another one of the variations.
This is a 12-foot. Well, the picture will be on the screen if you're watching on YouTube or check the blog. But that is a 12-foot creature at least.
So one of the other versions of the Windigo, it's all very much the same at the heart of it. You know, how you turn into a Windigo, what that happened, all that they travel in winter and whatever, that they thrive in the cold and all that jazz. But one of the versions is that it grows in proportion with the size of the meal it just had. So it is always hungry because it always outgrows the meal it just consumed. So that's why it's always emaciated. But it can get extremely large because if it eats a lot, eats a lot of people.
A lot of people.
A lot of human flesh. Then it grows and grows so that it can never be full.
That is the most terrifying sentence you've ever said on this show.
Right?
I don't know. That
full.
is terrifying.
And
it just gets bigger?
And it gets bigger.
No.
It gets taller.
I don't like it.
Not so much broader.
But just stretches out.
Yeah. I mean, it might get a little bit broader, but not fat, not girth-wise, but, yeah.
Ew.
So, yeah. So I have written here, so boogeyman or a literal creature, we'll never know, because we do know that this started as, it seems like it started as a legend to try to encourage everybody to,
altruism.
But also,
and
legends have a starting point. Legends have something that made them wonder what happened or what caused this or whatever. So who knows? But something I've always appreciated about Native American culture is the fact that their stories, myths, legends, everything always has an underlying lesson to be learned or advice to be remembered. And something I think we can all get behind as the days get shorter and colder is that it's important to take care of and look out for one another. And it's important all of the time, of course, but especially this time of year where things can be a little more difficult for some. So I just thought that kind of came full circle with the time of year it is and and all of that. So, and y'all know, love the holiday season. So, but yeah, thought that came full circle. But that's
So I have something to add.
Of course you do. Why am I not? I swear, every time I jumped, you know what I jump to every single time. Okay, I'm ready. Jeez.
So I have been listening to a new podcast that I absolutely love, and I'm going to give them a shout out. If you like our show.
All right.
This is relevant to Windigo.
Oh, okay.
It is.
I was like, I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't.
It's relevant, I promise. So I've been listening to National Park After Dark. Woo! If you like our show, you'll like their show. Their show is like our show. We joke around a little bit more than they do, but like similar topics, right? And they actually, one of the episodes I just listened to was about in one of the national parks, and I cannot remember because I didn't research this, but there was a couple who was Native American descent, or not descent, like this was like way back.
Okay.
I'm not doing a good job of this.
That's fine.
But so they were spending winter in this cabin. This man was supposed to send them supplies. The supplies never came because the guy was like not a great man and didn't send them because of money problems. So he was like, they'll just die out there. It'll be fine. And the woman survived. And how she told the story was that at one point her husband was so hungry that she thought he was possessed by the spirit of a Windigo. And like was holding a knife and like talking about how he was going to kill her. And like she ended up like somehow de-escalating, and then he did end up dying, and she was terrified to eat him to survive she didn't want to become one, and she ended up surviving. She found trapped one rabbit with like a hair snare, like she made a snare out of her own hair.
Wow.
And she got just enough rabbits to like sustain through the winter, because she was like, it was such a deeply held belief that if she were to eat him, even if it was just to survive, she would turn into a Windigo.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's awesome. There is also, I did not include this because there was a lot on the topic and we just don't have the time. There is mention of what they call Windigo psychosis. Okay. But it's essentially the Donner Party and like the cannibalism like triggers something in your brain, that kind of thing. It's not recognized by like English American scholars and things, but that is a like a thing in the culture.
So like, did they have any, like, if you met a Windigo, what are you supposed to do?
I'm pretty sure you're dead.
Okay.
There was nothing at all.
Nothing about preventing a Windigo attack or surviving a Windigo.
To prevent, it was stay with the community, take care of one another.
Don't be a straggler. Don't be a dick.
Don't go off by yourself. Don't put yourself above the community. Like, don't be selfish. Like, those were the ways that you prevented turning into one. And I guess bringing one to the community, but it was always they hunted for those who were separate. So it's like, if you were like, well, I'm going to go out and hunt my own stuff and like take care of my own self, like go off and like do your own thing, then that's when you were in danger of being hunted by a Windigo.
Okay.
Yeah. So then, don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
Yeah.
The lesson this episode and every episode is, in fact, don't be a dick.
Don't be a trash human being.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Take care of each other. Be nice to each other. Be kind. Be a nice person.
I know that's really hard for most people, but let's give it a shot.
Take care of people. Yeah. Also, there's no chance I'm going off by myself in the winter. No chance.
I mean, also, like, it's just cold and gross.
Right?
Like, I don't know.
No. I will not be doing that.
I will not.
No. I will not be participating.
But, like, going with people.
Yeah. Like, if a group of people went to hunt for the community, they were obviously safe because their intentions were.
Yeah. Well, and they're like a group. Together. So it sounds like you're. It's kind of like how mountain lions, like, pick off, like, the straggling child. It's the same thing, but it's much more terrifying than a mountain lion, in my opinion.
Yeah. And there's safety in numbers. So like the Windigo, the story of the Windigo and the legend, kind of has a lot of truths in it and a lot of like warnings and a lot of pieces of advice, like, you know, take care of each other, all of that, but also like don't go off by yourself, like, you know, all of that, so don't put yourself in danger.
Well, and so you said at the top, you said that it was the embodiment of winter, starvation, and like selfishness, basically.
Yes. Yeah.
But you can also see, like, if you like think about what the creature is, how it embodies that, because winter is way more likely to take your life from you if you're alone.
Yeah.
As well as like hunger, because you don't have like resources and like people to lean on in those like trying times.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really cool.
Right? It's kind of neat. So it's, you know, it's not like a thing I can be like, yeah, somebody had this report that they saw a Windigo. You know, I don't have that, but it's still a really cool thing.
Yeah.
Also, all legends and myths and things start somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not like somebody was just sitting down and was like, you know what, we should make up this story about this thing. Like, I genuinely
Except for Slenderman.
Except for Slenderman. Yeah, that one was somebody's brainchild.
But that was like a
contest.
contest.
Stayed away, yeah.
Watch our Slenderman episode.
Please. I mean, do it, but...
Do it. Don't make Sav do it again.
Don't make me do it. Don't make me go through anything with Slenderman. I don't know. You would think by now I would be kind of like desensitized to it, but
I was trying to think of that word.
It just gets worse.
Every
Honestly,
time.
I think my reaction just gets more violent every time. Next time I'm just gonna be like, no! Like, just start screaming. Sorry, headphone warning. That was loud.
It's okay. We have a fun filter that equalizes our voice volume.
Good.
So
that's
even
good.
if you're
Just
screaming
like,
or whispering, it all sounds the same volume.
That's good. That's good. Because next time I was gonna be like, just start screaming and freaking out. And no.
It comes in handy because I like to clap a lot to make points.
Yeah.
And so I've started like cupping my hands so I don't make noise when I do it, and I can still gesture.
Yeah.
But if I were to clap, it actually would like tamp in the sound.
That's good. Yeah. All right. Well, y'all, I know I don't have to do the outro, but you know.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
For a great story.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it's something I feel like a lot of people have heard of it, but don't actually know like any of the origins, what it's about, like what it means.
And what we've all heard of is completely wrong.
Yeah, it is
9
in
times
fact
out of 10, it's completely wrong.
Not like a deer head on a human body with like goat
It's like
bottom
Slender
half.
Man's evil twin.
And if you're listening and you have not, you're like, you know, I don't ever look at the photos. If you want to be terrified on a Monday, please go look at those photos, because I had to look at them. So now you do too.
Yeah. Also, if you watch the Monstrum episode, you're gonna see it again, because those are from the episode.
Good to know.
But you should definitely watch it, because who's the host? Dr. Emily, I want to say Zakara, but that could be wrong. It is a Z, and it has Kara. Is it Zakara? I think. Either way, she's fabulous and great and amazing, and she looks so young to have a doctorate. But she's very easy to listen to and just really great and engaging in that episode. So, 10 out of 10, recommend. It will be linked below. The list of links for this are so short, mostly because I only referenced who I quoted directly, because that was the same thing that everybody else said. So I was like, well, I'll make this easy on myself and just keep saying, according to Monstrum, because Monstrum and everybody said the same thing.
The same thing.
Yeah. Also, the Wikipedia sources this time sucked.
Oh,
they were terrible. Although I have to say, I did find the Monstrum thing through that, but that's the only thing I found. That and this one published paper. There's like one paper published on Windigo psychosis. Okay. But even then, it's like it's like a 40-some page paper, and I read like 10 of them.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. But I was like looking for something else to use, because I was like, I don't want to use just Monstrum. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't want it to seem like I watched one episode of something and was like, oh, that's good enough. No, I tried really hard.
Yeah.
But Monstrum just did a really good job. But it was like the whole purpose of that paper, the way that the author was writing it, was to like dismiss it, or to be like, it's exactly like
cabin fever.
It's exactly like the Donner Party, like how they just went crazy, you know, or like.
But they like We did an episode on the Donner Potter. It's not like they like all lost their minds.
And
they
then
like,
ate each other. It's like,
no, they were like very cold and hungry, and they had dead bodies, and they were like, I guess we'll eat each other. And if you remember from that episode, we actually talked about how the indigenous people like had been like leaving them food, and then they saw them eating each other, and were like,
peace.
I'm a go.
Yeah,
because now this seems like a situation.
Probably.
Yeah,
They would be afraid.
they were like, this is a bad sign.
Yeah.
I gotta go. I gotta jet. I realize I was helping you,
but I can't.
You've crossed a line.
Now. Yeah, I have to protect my people.
Concern.
Yeah. So basically, and like, you know how in the like sane, not psychotic human brain, right? So like take serial killers out of the equation.
Yeah. So your average normal, air quote,
normal
quote unquote normal
person,
brain.
Something would break. Mentally, something would break if you ate human, right? Like it would just feel like something so wrong, right? Like it's like,
I mean, I don't know, but I would think.
I feel like it would. You know, it's kind of the same way that your mandible has the power to break your pinky finger off.
Yeah,
like
it's like
biting into
all
a
you need to do
carrot.
is like a carrot. Yeah,
yeah, but your brain won't let you.
Yeah.
So hopefully,
but I wonder if you could like bite. I've never like been in a survival situation. I wonder if you could, if, for example, you'd been kidnapped or whatever.
You needed to bite someone else's
and you needed to bite somebody else's finger off. Could you do it?
I'd like to think that I could. Like if it was like my life or bite this person's finger off, I'm gonna bite the finger
would your
off.
brain let you bite the finger?
I don't know. I like to think. I hope there's some kind of manual.
Send us the answer.
I would do it. I love that I'm like, on this episode, we have learned that Sav would spray somebody in the face with bear spray if they had to, if she had to. And then I would also bite somebody's finger off if I had to. I'm not I should, listen, I sound all sweet and innocent. No. Like if I had to, if it came down to my survival or like my husband's survival or my kids or like whatever one day, I would bite somebody's finger off 100%.
Yeah. And I've always said,
if I could, you know, like we don't know if we can, but we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know if we can, but I always say like I am way better like if I had a child or like protecting my husband or something, like I'm way more protective over other people's lives than my life.
Yeah.
So like if
but
one
it's
of
not
their
like you're
lives,
gonna kill them by biting their finger off. Like
no.
They're
just
gonna lose a finger. They'll be fine.
And it's like, this is like, what is this finger?
What is
nothing.
This? Nothing. It's not like you lose your big toe and you lose all your balance. You know, it's like.
Yeah, and it's not like you're losing your like grab ability.
Yeah.
You're fine. You'll be fine.
You'll be all right.
Just like put some ice on it. It'll be fine.
Put it on ice, put some ice on your hand, get to a hospital. They can probably reattach it.
Yeah, depending on if I like F up the nerves when I bite it off.
Which I hope I do, because if you're holding me hostage, then.
Like you probably deserve to lose your pinky. Stop holding people hostage. You're gonna lose all your pinkies.
How did we get here? I don't know. But
there was a process.
Yeah. Also, I think there's a spider in the corner.
Oh, that's for sure a spider.
Great. Also, what is that black?
Oh, it's painter's tape.
Ah, okay. Just curious.
Yeah, it's actually blue. But
okay.
Yeah.
Well, from over here with that light on us, it looks black. Anyway.
On that note,
thank
you all for listening.
Yes, thank you all.
I'm gonna go kill a spider,
please, because I won't. Unless I'm in a cave situation, I can't ignore it. Because when I was a cave guide, I trained myself to ignore crickets that look like spiders and everything. Because I'm like, you can't freak out in front of the tourists because they'll freak out. Nobody wants that underground. So
my like motto is like, if I'm in nature, I'm not killing anything because like that's not my home. But if you're in my house, that's a different story. This is my home. Go back outside. That's where you belong.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
Gonna get of the things that I'm worried about us getting hate for, me saying that I kill spiders in my house is the only one I'm actually worried about. Because everything else I say, I'm like,
I'm worried about me getting flack for saying I would spray somebody in the face with bear spray.
No, that's one of our most popular reels.
Hands off, really? And I would bite somebody's finger off. Not hand. Wow, that's a lot. I don't think I could do that. But I would bite their finger off.
Sav is coming for the whole hand. I'm maybe getting your pinky finger.
Yeah.
The whole hand. She's gonna 148 hours that.
Yeah.
Gnaw it off.
Yeah. No. Mm-mm.
But
also, like, no.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.
Find us all the places. You'll hear the outro. And in the meantime, stay safe out there. Thanks for watching. Music by Purple Planet. Art by Ruby Congrove. Logo by Catherine Dodds. For more information and our sources, head over to notsogreatoutdoors.com. For updates and announcements, make sure you follow us on Instagram and Twitter at NSGOPod. Don't forget to subscribe on all of your favorite podcasting platforms.